So I say this is one of my favorite squat or pre-squat mobility routines, but honestly this is just one of my favorite ones overall. So to do a good squat, you have to have good mobility in your middle back, strong core, your hips need to be moving well, and then also you need to be able to load through your ankle joints. So those are the 4 main movements that we're going to cover. First thing, I always like to open up the middle back because this is going to allow you to have better movement through your low back and your neck. So once you get on the foam roller, place it just at the base of your shoulder blades. Hips are on the ground. Knees are bent up at about 90 with your feet on the ground too. Hands cradling your head, opening up to the shoulders. And then from there, I'm going to have you rock all the way back, keeping the lower abdominals drawn in, and then back off. We'll do about 5 more of those all the way down, opening up through the middle back. It's okay to get clicks and pops here. My hands are kind of tractioning my neck and back up. Just like that every time, opening all the way, finding the spot that feels good. Maybe the foam roller slides down just slightly as you're doing this, but you should feel that pressure of the foam roller against your middle back, and then also some counter resistance from drawing in your abdominals. You'll see a lot of people that overarch from their low back and maybe even get some low back cramping or spasms here. That means you are just moving too much from the lower spine and not getting that movement through your middle back. All right, I know we did more than 5, but one more opener there. Good. So that hits the middle back. We're going to get into the hips a little bit next. One of my favorite hip movements to do is what I call the hip clocks. So go into this half kneeling position. Abdominals are drawn in. My right foot is forward, left hand down onto the mat. And from there, you're going to use your right hand to kind of scour your leg in and out. So I'm pressing my right knee out using my right hand. And I feel that all along the back side of my right hip. So outer hip opener. And then you're going to bring it across and get an inner hip opener. So there I feel a little bit of compression in the inside of my hip. And reverse that there. Outer hip and inner hip. I'm not too concerned what the ankle's doing here. Sometimes it pops off of the mat. Other times it stays on. One more to the inside and then we're going to switch legs. So now the left leg is going forward. Right hand comes down to the mat. You can't really see this one on camera, but the left knee pressing out. I feel it on the left outer hip and then pushing back in. Now what you might find is a little bit of side-to-side difference. One hip might feel tighter than the other. I really would not perseverate that on too much. We're kind of built with these asymmetries to a certain degree, and as long as you have the awareness and the perception of it, I wouldn't worry too much about it. All right, so we've opened up the hip and the middle back. Now we're going to get into some calf mobility. So going back into that half kneeling position, grab a weight of some sort, place it on your knee, and then from there, it's a simple lunge forward. So you're using that added weight from either the weight or the kettlebell, leaning forward, keeping your heel down, trying to prevent any sort of collapse of the arch or keeping the arch too high, and back off. And as you can see with all these are more what we call mobility exercises, where you're working the joint through movement. 3 more on this side. And as I'm doing this, really what I feel is a small amount of stretch in the calf, a little bit of tension in the front of the ankle, and both of those things are fine. 6 or 7 on the left side now. Tall in the end position, abdominals drawn in, hands are supporting the weight, sinking into the movement, and back off. The other thing, really make sure that you're loading through your ankle joint. You'll see a lot of people want to swing over through their hips and they kind of miss the ankle joint. Make sure that you're rocking straight through. 2 more on this side. And bringing the weight down, we're actually going to get into some small squat movements. So start with your feet hip width apart. I'm going to turn for the camera. And what I want you to do, my feet are on either edge of the mat. I'm sitting back into the squat, mimicking the movement, going all the way down, and then pressing back up using my glutes. Sinking back down, opening the hips at the bottom point. It's okay if your low back kind of rounds here because you're just warming up the entire movement. 3 more full squats here. 2 more sitting back into a chair, imagine, as you're going down, and then using your glutes to press back up. Last one. And then the final movement for this video is going to be a high plank. So hands stacked just underneath your shoulders, feet are long, core drawn in, pressing through your shoulders. And it's just an isometric hold here. An option for some small side-to-side movements, warming up the obliques a little bit more. 5 more seconds. That is my kind of pre-squat warm-up routine. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, you can do this every morning, whether you're doing squats or not.